Asher and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Perfect picture painted on the poster. Everyone should know her. People wanna draw her like a gun inside a holster. Maybe she should show her skin a little closer. Wriggle when I hold ya.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I am very excited about our next guest because, man, just released a killer single yesterday, and I love the whole story about it and what he's about. So let's welcome to the show, Kid Bookie. How are you?
I'm wonderful, my friend, Mr. Pipeman. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. I gotta say right off the bat, too, I was laughing because I saw an interview that Rose and you did where you were talking about McDonald's. And I thought that was cool. So McDonald's and recording. So how did this all happen? How did this all start? Tell us the story.
I guess it's weird. I'm a big collaborator, and I'm known for sometimes pulling out things out the bag that I guess not many would do, but if they had the position, I always think they should have done it, Yeah. So I guess, I'm making a project. I've got loads of friends on this project, and I guess I'm blessed and fortunate enough to have those types of friends. But I thought I had this idea for a record that I wanted to name genuinely just Rose McGowan. I didn't know Rose at the time. Like I was like, I have this song, I'm putting the name Rose McGowan because, it wasn't just about people making a person's name of the song for any reason or, for buzzwords. We've got so many people that just put a woman's name of a song just to make that shit pop. But I was like, oh God, my bad. I was like,
That's our other guy.
Stop it. So I was like, sorry.
That's all right. That I don't know if it's a he or she, but wants to be on the show is the problem.
Yeah, clearly does. But ultimately, it was just getting like, I just wanted to make a song with someone who's like a monolith in this culture and align myself with them on the record if I could. And the alchemy brought it to fruition. So what can you do about the universe and putting out sentiments that come right back to you?
I know, man. It's so badass. And what a great song. And see, the song also brings me back to, like decades ago of how music was longer and you kind of went on a journey. And it's like you didn't even know what to expect. Like you take the old school metal, you really didn't know what to expect. You took a song like Battery by Metallica, and if you listen to it for only 10 seconds, you missed the shocker that came later, and I felt that same way about this song. I'm listening to it, and then all of a sudden it turns into this like brutal screaming that was so badass. And I just love combining like the melody with the brutal metal and just bending all the genres to make something unique.
I think if you're not, to many, this might be their first introduction to me, especially if they are more, just fans of Rose McGowan away from music. And but this is a thesis I play with in all of my stuff. This is like pure identity. This is not, it's not hard, and it's like it's natural because I'm a student of the game. So coming into this game and studying it first and foremost, but also being able to be friends with the people that have taught me a lot of what I've known in this music industry. It's like, how can I not mix them so affluently? They're both literally genome patterns in my coding, man. Like they're like my you split my wrist, notes come out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what I believe. So it's like I'm the generation that grew up on such an amalgamation of sounds. It's like it's almost you're doing yourself a disservice to not pay homage to what's in you.
No doubt. And that's what I love about you. From everything I've seen, you're like just true to yourself. You don't really care what anybody thinks. You're going to be true to your own values, morals.
I began to start caring just a little bit. I'll be real with you. I had to. I went too far into the no fucks given, and I had to come back.
I know, right? Sometimes that does happen, but you know, it's still, you're still being real and you're still being you. And I think that's what's so cool about this song, because I think Rose is super cool. And the fact that you guys collaborated for something that I think it's like been 6 years since she's even written any lyrics.
Yeah, it's you know, it is. You know, sometimes I have to detach myself from like Kid Bookie, the artist, and kind of put myself back into Tyrone, the normal dude that, you know, who's just a civilian on Earth, like you know, the orgasm that won the race. That's all I am. So like, I have to sometimes go, wait a minute. You know, where I come from in South London, I didn't know anybody. Like, there's nobody. I didn't know anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally, it was just me and the whistle of the wind. And, you know, so I guess I do sometimes when I do step back and look at the triumphs, but it's hard to sometimes count them. Like, I'm really weird. I don't like to get excited too much because I know how quick excitement runs out. But that's because I'm experiencing my industry. Like, I've had it all and I've had nothing. So I'm like, all right, let me focus and be very, well, it's not even about being humble, because humble is such a weird word, but it's humility through the sections. Like, cool, we've done this thing. You can pull this together. So you clearly you have, you know what I mean? You have your magic in you. You can pull things together. Whether or not you have to make people believe in your magic is a whole nother level of magic itself. But yeah, you know, to be able to bring people out of I would say their own brain, because the reality is it was her choice to not, you know, it
is being inside your own head. Exactly. And, you know, I get what you're saying too, because there's Pipeman and then there's Dean. Okay. And
hello, Dean.
Even my ex-wife confuses it. Okay. Like, she'll listen to my radio show and she'll be like, she'll call one of my kids, what the fuck happened to your father? Blah, 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 blah. And then she thinks I'm like this different person. It's like, there's multiple facets of our personality, you know, and like, and I think that's the way everybody should be personally. I joke around on the show and I say I'm schizophrenic, but really it's just normal. You have different sides of you and different roles you play in your life, you know, in general.
It's every moment a mood and shade of who you are, you know, and I think that's what, I guess it's weird. And I always say I relate to the crazy. So if you are one of the crazies, I think that's why we're getting on. So, you know.
Well, they always say I attract the crazies. So I think we're on the same wavelength, okay?
We're walking a very fine line of schizophrenia. So, right. You know, it's, and that's the thing. I'm so emboldened in my individuality, not just to serve it as this lawless go fuck yourself mantra, but knowing that a lot of people project so much upon you that you start to rewire your own brain synapses to other people's thinking, where I've had to really fight hard to trust myself more than anyone else, because people make you not trust yourself. And the only person you should trust, you need to learn to trust yourself, because you have to make decisions every day through whether they're choices of desperation, choices of happiness, sadness, whatever. You need to be very centered when you're not even centered. So, you know, learning to be, like I said, operating through all of these places and knowing who I want to be, because I have been every shade of a man I don't want to be. So I like painting from the palette of the colors I choose to be today, you know?
I love it.
And so yeah, it's nice to have people recognize that you know, that I don't even know if it's just being yourself, man. But it's like so many people are stuck. They're lost because everyone's they listen to everyone telling them how to be, but most people don't even listen to their own advice. So I don't want to tell nobody how to be. I would always just say, take what's natural to you and manipulate it for yourself.
And people can tell when you're being natural or if you're 100. Being what other people want you to be, type of thing. And, you know, I do want to clarify, because even though you have, you know, you are you and you don't give a fuck, but you do give a fuck. You just give a fuck in the right places. And that's why you have a
Yes.
song like this, like Rose McGowan, and actually feature Rose McGowan in it, because she's somebody that does give a fuck about a lot of things. And that tells me something about you, because you guys wouldn't be collabing unless you did give a fuck, but you give a fuck about the right things like human beings.
Oh, you know what? Like she's her own beast, you know, and I'm my own beast too. And
Exactly.
I think the I think that's what allows us to kind of get on, because you know we're not just trying to appease each other's happiness when you're not even like, when it's just like hey, you know, that's like, I don't have those relationships with anybody. So we
Nice.
are, you know, and I guess me being a very extreme character, sometimes from the jump, I always say you will know where you sit with me, and I'll probably know where I sit with you, just because, you know, we're not just a bag of bones. We are vibe and frequency. You know, we have brains for certain reasons. So, you know, it's you know, and I try not to assume. So I won't assume who you are, but with 5 minutes will allow me to create a nice picture and run with that potential picture as I stare at it. You know,
Sure.
but so Rose is, you know, we're very linear and relative in that kind of facet of just, we're very open towards each other, whether we both like it or not. But that's the power of growth, is knowing that it's not about what you both like or not. It's just about the betterment of remove ourselves from something, and what is the betterment of this thing we're doing. And you know, that's an enjoyable prospect for anyone you want to work with,
I
especially
agree
Rose.
with that 1,000,000%. Just in general, like I just think I did a posting the other day, because of course, you know, all the bullshit going on in my country, and it's
Mhm.
like, people just like, if people aren't intentionally harming other people, accept them for who they are, and you know, get to know them for who they are, and opposed to who you want them to be, you know,
The
like.
key
And
word you said was intent.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. 100%. And the fact of the matter is we all come from different backgrounds, different upbringings, different geographics, different influences, friends, variables, family, that we're all going to have different opinions about things. Maybe we could learn from each other instead of fighting with each other because we don't agree, you know? And I think people should speak their mind if they have good intentions.
Yeah.
They should speak their mind, whether you agree with them or not.
And that's the thing. I think everyone likes to know it all, right? So no one's got room to learn anything, because people think they're operating from their level of understanding and their place of thinking, that sometimes, depending on how you think, might put a guard up to you thinking how you absorb other people's thinking. I'm
Yeah.
very open. Like, you know, the man on the street with nothing can teach me a lot. And not just because he's got nothing, but I don't even know what he's saying or what his thoughts are. But when you get into speaking is just a flow state of consciousness. And the more people become conscious when you speak, the more you start to understand about them, and the more you learn. So I'm always open to learning. I think, I guess people always said to me, like, my biggest problem in this industry is that I'm so, and maybe it is, but I'm so like, I'm not, like, no matter what the presses say about me, or I'm this thing, I'm just a dude with scars on his body. Like, I'm not out here to be famous. I don't give a fuck about Hollywood. I don't care about the mannerisms I need to keep for someone to take a photo, and I don't give a fuck. I'll put my arsehole out bare on the camera and probably fart whilst doing it, you know? So like don't like, and that will make the person who's trying to be the glass frame without the crack fucking fall over and shatter to 1,000 pieces. But sometimes they need that, because I hate fucking perfect shit, and I don't want to be around it. I don't want to associate with it. I enjoy the visceral nature of human beings in all of their forms. If you're a bit unhinged, then, you know, find out where it places best, and just learn your method to your chaos, or method to your madness. I'm a man who's lived in so much chaos that I found peace in it, but now it's more like, I don't want to. I'm not even angry like that anymore. So I'm more like, it's nice to operate from places of thinking and states of being where they are just literally from a neutral place, and I don't add any disdain, malice, or whatever. My intent is, I do my best. I try not to assume. I don't take anything personal, and blah 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 blah. I might foul tomorrow, but as long as I keep remembering, it allows me to keep reshaping those thoughts I have to go through and paint from this palette I said I want to be. You know.
I love it. It's so true too, because like when we live in chaos, which I have too, it's like you become comfortable with it, And then it isn't until you decide not to live in that chaos that you realize how uncomfortable it was. You think you were comfortable.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. But everyone aids you because sometimes your chaos is what's bringing their pleasure. Because
they don't want you to change. They don't want.
No.
I know people in my life when I've made changes that were better for me, they didn't like it because it wasn't better for them.
It's unfamiliar.
Right? So
and we like familiarity and patterns, and humans live in patterns. And when you break a pattern, there's no fault to jump to because they normally jump to the next thought. Where I don't mind scattering my thoughts around and kind of reshaping what ways I need to think because everything a plot needs a different tandem, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. It's not weird at all, actually. It's quite simple, but we are around people that enjoy putting complex scenarios in simple situations when all they require is sometimes yes or no.
Exactly. And all this is why you're such a true artist, because to me, the artists that last are the ones that think like you. They're not the ones looking to get rich and famous. They're not the ones looking to become a celebrity. Usually it's the exact opposite. You know, you take somebody like Kurt Cobain, he hated it. And, you know, he would have rather just sit in the hotel room and play his guitar with Courtney, you know, instead of being out there with everybody like, oh my God. And that's the true
Believe
artist.
me, dude, I get vetted every single time people want me to be on something. And I just literally like, you know, the more you've just done this to me, the more you've made my brain oppose everything you've just done. And it's like, I hate it because it's like almost molding a shape of you to be presented to people for a wider taste. But I'm like, you don't know what they want. Yeah. You have no idea what people want. And you can't decide that until they're given it, because you can hand people two forks that look like exactly the same. And one might just have a small point at the top. And it's like, it's just their preference. We don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so most of the time, I've always been like, oh, Bookie, like, can you? And I'm like, no. Because every time I leave the thing that you've told me I shouldn't be doing, you're sitting there going, that was amazing. And I'm like, you're so used to conventional bullshit that when you really get shit that's not bullshit and it's just shit with no sugar on top of it, not shit-coated sugar, it's just a pile of shit. And it's just there for you to look at without having to question and put under the microscope. It's just shit. People don't know what to fucking do because they want to explain this shit. They want to explain the ridges of the edge of that fucking poo, and it's just shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. I love it. But I will say, Rose McGowan featuring Rose McGowan is definitely not shit. It's a badass song, and everybody's got to check it out. How do they connect to you on socials, on the web? How do they get the new song? Check out all your other stuff. You've also done a lot of other great collabs and some great songs with Corey Taylor. So let's share with everybody how they can connect to you, and we could make this message even bigger and stronger.
You can connect to me by just, I don't know, clicking my handle and having a gander upon the pages of the content I have to put out and the selected little writings I put on Twitter and making a big formation of who I potentially can be. And then you can message me and then I'll respond longer. And then you go, now I've got a little personal thing into it. And then all of a sudden you've got a parasocial relationship. But there we go. That's where you can catch me. Or you can just find me on the streets, lingering, finding out what's going on.
There you go. Well, do you have any final words for our listeners that we haven't covered already that you want to let them know that's coming up? And of course, we didn't talk about that, your tour as well.
I am not currently got any tours in the pipeline, but when I do, they'll be announced.
Nice. So everybody connect on socials to Kid Bookie so you can see when that tour is going to happen, and so you can see all the new music and everything. And thanks a lot for, giving what I call a positive voice to the world when we need it most. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
And you're locked into W4CY Radio with Mr. Pipeman. It's me, Kid Bookie. Go fuck yourselves, but don't do it dangerously.
Welcome to Rockville. Returns to Daytona International Speedway May 7th through 10th with Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, Guns N' Turnstile, Five Finger Death Punch, The Offspring, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Godsmack, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville, May 7th through 10th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at welcometorockville.com. The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
I'm dreaming 94. I'm thinking slowly. I want more, so more.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. I'm super excited about our next guest and actually where he's at, because we were just talking about that before the interview. So let's welcome to the show, Ryan Roxie. How are you?
Ta-da. What's happening, Pipeman? Great to be on the show.
Oh, man. Great to have you. First, I have to say right off the bat, I love your studio backing there with all those guitars. Let's start there. Tell us about those guitars, because I'm sure each one of those, the way you have them placed, has some special significance to you.
The only significance it has is that I actually need every single one of the guitars that sort of put around the room, this one especially, because it's a original Alice Cooper band guitar was the Gibson SG. Both the original OGs, Michael Bruce and Glenn Buxton, played the SG. So there, in fact, I have to learn a lot of those songs and their parts. Makes it easier to do on the SG.
You go.
I thought you'd like to talk about the room because, like, to be honest with you, I can go and pick up that guitar. It's not even a green screen, which for the longest time, I have done a podcast called the In the Trenches podcast, and I always had a studio green screen, and people always thought, oh man, yeah, that's a cool studio, but I actually have a cool studio now.
See, that looks cool to me. I'm like, I wish I had that as a green screen.
I'll send you a screenshot of just the studio. But no, I'm very lucky to have this and be able to record music. I recorded the last two singles of the guitars and vocals right here in this room, and then it kind of an international affair. The drums recorded in Albuquerque in his home studio, and then we send up all the tracks to Canada to our producer Robbie Miller, and he basically, puts all the love in, puts in all the hard work, making it right. And it becomes an international sort of recording, especially with this newest single that we just have called Fight Another Day. We had a keyboard player from the UK, Keith Weir. He emailed his tracks in to Canada from the UK, and then Bridget West from the New York Loose. She sang some backgrounds on it, and she was somewhere in Europe, and she laid her vocals down. So it truly is an international affair.
And first of all, I want to say I love the name of that song alone, because I lived that my whole life. Okay.
Fight Another Day. Always. Yeah.
That to me, like, says it all. Like, I don't even have to listen to the song yet and know that is all me. And I'll tell you what tripped me out too. Okay. So I'm wearing today a Grateful Dead shirt because my live show in a couple hours, I'm going to be dedicating most of it to Bobby Weir. And I was like tripping out when I saw the same name, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird.
Keith Weir, yeah, on the keyboards and on the piano. He's great. He was in a band called the London Choir Boys. He's been there for years, and now him and Griff has their own band together. Griff Griffin from the Choir Boys, they've got their own thing together, and it's sounding real good. But the Grateful Dead, if you're doing a whole show on it, shouldn't you be like Bong Man and not Pipe Man?
Yeah, what's so funny about that? So I go on tour and I do festivals all over the US, UK, Europe, and the one question I don't ever ask artists is the question that's asked of me all the time by artists. Like, so I never ask, how'd you get your band name? you know, because I know from a lot of my friends too, that's like the number one hated question that they get. And
Really?
so
Okay.
they all go to me, they all go, well, where'd Pipeman come? And they always make these assumptions, and then they literally will write a song in the middle of an interview and like sing this song. And it always either has to do with plumbing or what you just mentioned, bongs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, everyone knows you were a former adult actor, so Pipeman was your sort of your nickname, I guess. And that's
there you go.
He was your moniker. Oh, send in the Pipeman.
That's right. Exactly. See, I surf, so it could go along with that too. Like it could go so many different ways.
I think that's where it actually came from, because you're in the pipe, you're in,
Or skateboarder. I'm a skateboarder too. But guess what? My last name. Yep. My last name is Piper. That's where it came from. It's as simple as that. And that's what I find if people ask how people got their band names, because usually there's not some big story behind it. It's some simple thing, or like, hey, we were just hanging out, we were stoned, and the name sounded good.
Well, yeah, Roxie 77, which is the name of my solo band, is pretty obvious. Is my last name. Roxie 77 made sense. The band before that, that I had a kind of my solo band, but I put a band name to it, was Dad's Porno Mag, DPM, with the great Mike Fasano on the drums and Will Efforts on the bass. But that was Dad's Porno Mag, and that's, again, pretty self-explanatory. The first time you found out about sex, first time you maybe saw another person of the opposite sex with no clothes on, was probably your dad's porno mag, at least from my generation.
Now, and that's true. It is true. It is true. And as somebody that used to hang out at the Rainbow with Lemmy and Ron Jeremy, it is true.
Talk about a pipe man. There you go.
I know, right?
Pipe man.
And I want to know too, like, so I heard that Alice Cooper is like one of the greatest to work with, and encourages stuff like you're doing now, doing your own thing, doing your own creativity, having your own projects. So, and I don't think everybody's like that. In fact, I know not everybody's like that. So how cool is he? That
being secure in your own ego and in your own legacy for Alice. He really is. He's the best boss I ever had. And trust me, I've worked a lot of fast food restaurants. So I figure he is the best as far as letting you shine, because of that sort of being relaxed in his own legacy and stardom and household name status. When you play a guitar solo, he wants you up in front and center. He doesn't want you sitting in the back, sort of, pulling a Jeff Beck and putting your back to the audience or anything like that. No, he wants you, boom, up in the center, in the spotlight. And I really appreciate that about him, because he's always supported us, everybody that's in the band, with our solo projects. And you know what? If I can just get him to listen to the new single, I think he'll really like it.
There you go. Well, let's do that. And it's funny because it's true, because like I'm friends with Nita, and I just thought it was very cool. She went and did something else for a little while, but then she was just welcomed back with open arms when she realized it was time to come back to Alice.
Yeah, she did her version of Tal Bachman of what I did. If anyone knows that name, if you know, you know. But I was in a band during the Alice years, between tours and stuff. It was an artist called Tal Bachman, and there was you might not know the name, but obviously there's big pedigree in that. Randy Bachman was the father. It's Bachman Turner Overdrive. It was his kid, his son, and his son wrote a bunch of great songs. Tal did, and I was part of that album and part of this song called She's So High. So next time you're riding in an elevator, or you're at a Pizza Hut and you hear some music, or you're on your Peloton, you'll probably hear that song come up once or twice. But that's my guitars and my guitar solo. But
nice.
That being said, that did not pan out into the world of getting up into the front of the stage and being able to solo your ass off. So when I realized that that was sort of the writing on the wall, I'm very happy that Alice did ask me back, and we were able to get back on stage together and rock as a unit as we have for the last, when did I get back in the band? I was in it from 96 to 2006, took a small break, moved to Sweden, did some gigs in Sweden, few bands in Sweden, did my own stuff in Sweden as well. But then back in 2012, got asked back, and we've been touring every year since then. So on and off since 1996.
And there's definitely chemistry there, because like I've seen you guys quite a few times at the Wimmer festivals, and like there's such, you just see it on stage. Like you can tell when there's chemistry or if people are just going through the motions. And you know, like you can also tell that Alice makes it like a family, opposed to, you know, this is my band, like a lot of bands will do.
Very
you know?
much so. And I believe that cohesiveness is basically reciprocal with the audience, because the audience becomes the family then as well, because we see so many of the same places. You know, you talk about Grateful Dead and how they travel and they sort of follow the band along caravan. We have our own little Alice Cooper Sick Things caravans that come out in certain sections of the country, and they'll just be with us for like 1 or 2 weeks, and they'll go to all the shows. And we're very thankful for it because of that sort of relationship that we have with the hardcores. And then with every show, hopefully we're still doing it, I will talk to people that will say, you know what, this is my first Alice Cooper show, but I'm coming back. So that's the best thing to hear, is when you know, you've been doing this for as long as we've been doing it, and you still get people that say, this is my first Alice Cooper show, now I'm a fan. I'm like,
I love it.
Great. What took you so long? But thank you.
Right. But that is amazing. And so what was it for you? What was that first moment way back, way back, when you decided playing guitar and being part of music was just a part of you?
I think pretty much the opening first few bars of music Van Halen 1, right? Because when Van Halen, and again, I grew up in the Bay Area, so I was very lucky to be born and raised by that much of a spectrum of music. There was funk, there was disco, there was punk rock, there was metal, there was classic rock. And I grew up in a very cool time, you know, going to concerts in the late 70s. One of my first concerts I ever went to was the Jackson 5 at Oakland Coliseum.
Wow.
And then my second concert was right across the street at the that was the Oakland Arena, Jackson 5. And then across the street was the Oakland Coliseum. I went to Day on the Green with Journey and Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio, the late great Ronnie James Dio, on lead vocals, and Journey headlining the gig. It was, I mean, like, I was very lucky. But then those guitar heroes that came out, man, Edward Van Halen, he just kind of made you listen and go, how is that done?
Right.
And how can I do it? How can I catch in on that?
Like, one of the first songs I ever learned on guitar was Ain't Talking About Love.
Wow,
and Heaven and Hell. My first 3 songs were not Smoke on the Water. They were Ain't Talking About Love, Heaven and Hell, and 25 or 624 by Chicago.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Well, which later became that Green Day song. I love it.
Right.
But then it was like, my first was Smoke on the Water, just like everybody else. I'm one of you. Smoke on the Water. But I think the second was Your Mama Don't Dance, Daddy Don't Rock and Roll. Not the Poison version. No. It was Kenny Loggins.
The real version.
Yeah, Loggins and Messina. And then I think my third might have been, it's a toss-up between Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Stones, or it was Do You Feel Like We Do by Peter Frampton, who, again, is another one of my guitar heroes that, again, I would stare at that album. And I know that album came out before Van Halen, so I might have to switch my story around a little bit, but never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So we'll stick with Van Halen.
I know, right?
Frampton Comes Alive. Come on, man. That was a game changer as well.
So speaking of Van Halen, I'll just tell you, just because it's funny, my favorite, I think one of my favorite memories, and of thousands and thousands of shows in my lifetime, was 1983, the US Festival in San Bernardino.
Oh, yeah.
Van Halen was headlining Heavy Metal Day,
Yep.
and they did start Ain't Talking About Love. There's 300,000 people there, and Eddie's looking over at Dave because he ain't singing. And then Dave just goes into the mic and he goes, I fucking forgot the words. And the whole place roared like that was the best thing that ever happened, except one dude who heckled him. And he turned to that dude and he's like, I will fuck your girlfriend. And like, I'm just thinking, that's live music. People talk about backing tracks and stuff like that. That was so live music right there, because like, you're a good front man if you can overcome forgetting the words by doing shit like that.
And I love the fact that he probably said that line in every town and every like concert. But you know what? For you,
for me,
that was the one that did it. And for me, it was the same thing at the Cow Palace when he said it to some guy at the Cow Palace in San Francisco.
Exactly.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, because
right?
You know what? That guy deserved it. Yeah, I think at the Cow Palace, somebody threw an orange up on stage. That was the thing. He's like, oh, an orange at me up on stage. That's okay, pal. Because after the show, I'm gonna fuck your girlfriend. And so we all have that David Lee Roth moment. And
it's true though, you know, like you go and it's the first time for you, so you think this is like, oh my God, I'm at this special thing that never happens.
Well,
to your point.
I almost didn't last that show at the Cow Palace because that was on the Diver Down tour, and I was, pretty young, up in front, pushed up in front, and I wasn't tall at all. I'm still not, but my girlfriend at the time was even smaller, and all of a sudden the show starts and she goes under, and I go, what the hell? Where is everybody? And then I get pushed in this thing, and we were lucky to make it out of that one because that was way before GA. That was way before GA got banned, and general admission was just the way you did it at concerts. So, yeah, I love Van Halen stories, but the US Festival, I think Motley Crue, I think they opened it. Didn't they open Metal Day on that one?
No, I think Quiet Riot opened it, because you had Quiet Riot, you had Crue, you had Ozzy, you had Priest, you had Triumph, you had Van Halen. I'm trying to think who else was that day.
It sounds like a 2025 tour.
I know, right?
We just got off the road with Judas Priest.
And you know what was a trip about? I think it was that year that happened, that I saw Ozzy with 3 separate guitarists in one year. Because Brad Gillis, Randy Rhodes. I saw Randy New Year's Eve right before he died.
Brad, then you saw Jake.
Well, actually, I also saw Pat Travers. Pat Travers for a short period after Randy played, and I caught one of the shows.
Pat Travers taught me a great way of playing Schools Out. We did a show with him years ago, and we asked him to come up on stage for Schools Out, and everybody, says they know Schools Out. And then when it comes right down to jamming it, it's a little trickier than most people think. But Pat Travers actually knew it better than I think I did. And he played his part in the no more pencils, no more books. He played that part. And he literally taught me a new way of playing it that I play today. So I never got to thank Pat for I haven't seen him since that gig. And thank you, Pat, for teaching me a very new, cool way to play Schools Out. And I do it today.
See, that's way cool. I love hearing stuff like that.
I don't talk about that because, I don't know. It's not that Pat Travers and I are in a huge feud or anything like that. I just never have a chance to tell that story when all my brain memory function is working and I'm on the phone with the Pipeman and
and there it comes. There it is.
What you bring out in people, Pipeman. That's what you do. You bring out good memories.
That's the way it should be too. And how about this? This is a recent good memory probably for you, that you guessed it on Rocky's Rock and Roll Symphony.
Good segue. Yeah, absolutely. That was cool. That was a very cool memory. I got hats off to Rocky, and hats off to Paul Unger for setting it all up and promoting it and getting people into the studio, because they had never done a live studio audience. And it was a night off that we were having on tour on this last Alice Cooper Judas Priest tour. And ironically enough, or I don't know if it's even ironically, but I had a gig to do with the Rock and Roll Symphony. The bands, Judas Priest and Alice, were having a band dinner that night, and I had to miss it. But in retrospect, it was the best missed band dinner I ever had, because we had such a good time filming this and doing it, and it hopefully will turn into something that we're able to do in more places, in more cities and towns when there are nights off on tour. I love coming in, live studio audience. They ask questions. I play some songs acoustically. I get asked good questions by the host, which is Rocky. And then Paul Unger's there, waving the flag, waving his blighter and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good time had by all, I think. So go check it out. I think it's maybe you can put the links in somewhere.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description for the podcast afterwards for sure, because I checked it out and I thought it was pretty cool for sure, and everybody has to check it out. So is there anything else you got going on in 2026 that you want the listeners to know about?
I want them to check out all the new music that I have out. I put out a single earlier called Better Than You, and then we just released this one called Fight Another Day, and it's sort of they go hand in hand together. So go check them both out on my YouTube channel if you can. All the links are at ryanroxie.com. New music is going to continue to come out all throughout the year. And we've got another year of Alice touring all in the works. We're excited about not one, but two shows. There's a Chris Angel Alice Cooper show that's happening in Vegas.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
It combines illusions and rock and roll, which is one of the first times I think it's happened. And then we have the Alice Cooper, Alice's Attic, brand new set list and set pieces as well. So that's something to go check out. And then, if you want to dive in and become more inner circle, I do this thing every year called Roxie's All Access Pass. And it's basically like having a backstage pass to everything that goes on, before the show, after the show, backstage, post on the bus, getting dressed, the days off. So I kind of give everybody a sort of a glimpse into what life on the road is about. And again, ryanroxie.com, you can go check out All Access Pass. But yeah, look out for new music, and appreciate you taking the time to spend with me and giving me some good memories of my own. And best of luck with everything you're doing, Pipeman.
Hey, you rock. And I love what you're doing. I love your new music. Everybody's got to check it out. And they'll have to check out some Alice shows this year too, because man, those are definitely show. You don't even have to like the music to love the show. I happen to love the music, but it's just such a great show.
There's so much to love about the music, because Alice has put together some really amazing bands over the years, whether it's original OGs, with Glenn and Michael and Dennis, and that musicality of it, they're just great. And they're the reason why we're still able to tour today, that whole original band.
Yeah.
Because we get to play those hits and those iconic legacy hits. And then all the songs that Steve Hunter and Dick Wagner were part of. And then all the Kane Roberts era stuff, we touch on all of it throughout the show. There's a lot of, it doesn't matter if you're 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts, or even up until this last album that we did with the band called Road. It doesn't matter. Whatever era you're into Alice, I think you're going to enjoy the show.
Absolutely. Well, you are an amazing musician, and thank you very much for everything you've done all these years, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Appreciate you having me, Pipeman. Enjoy the ride, everybody. We'll see you out there somewhere. What's happening, rock and rollers? Ryan Roxie here of the Alice Cooper Band, and you are listening to the Pipeman right here on W4CY Radio. Rock it.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.